Canon is trash. Never buy a Canon camera. Welcome back to another episode of ShotNChop. I am your host, Josh Cannon, and today we are about to chop it up. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of ShotNChop. I am so sorry that I've been gone for a while. If you hear in my voice I sound a little nasally, it's because I'm a little sick, but it's okay. But today I have a guest on, my friend Mike, aka Mr. Sirflux himself. So we're going to chop it up a little bit about some topics that have been come to mind lately. So I hope that you all enjoy the episode. So I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, tell you guys a little bit about himself, his business. We're going to jump into the conversation and hopefully you all enjoy it. So without further ado, Mike, what's up, bro?
What's up? What's up? How you doing, man?
I am surviving. That's the word I'm going to use today.
Good. That's daily activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I'm Mike. I am based out of Atlanta now. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. Been doing photography and now videography for going on about 9 years now.
Nice.
I think I got the typical startup story. You know, you walk around with a camera, like, yeah, I'm gonna take pictures of the city. You know, landscape photography. Eventually, that turned to focusing it on people, and I just haven't let that go since.
Okay. That's what's up. I missed it. I'm sorry. You said you did which one first, photography or videography?
Photography. So videography is I've shot my first video a few years ago, but I'm giving it more focus and attention now. It's part of the main reason I actually moved to Atlanta, because I wanted to pursue film a little bit better than I could at the time in Virginia. So yeah, looking forward to that side of the business, which is very vast in itself.
I feel that. Fun fact, yeah. I actually started doing video first before I started doing photography, and people weren't really paying for video work at the time. So I was like, well, let me take pictures, and that started paying. So that's why I started focusing on more. But as we know now, with all of the things shifting on social media and whatnot, video is more important. And when it comes to businesses, I think more businesses for me have been actually requesting video lately. So I'm starting to get more back into it and going back to where I started. And I still enjoy both.
Okay. Full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which one would you say that you enjoy more right now with everything going on? Or does that not affect your photography still being your first love over a film?
I keep them separate in my mind.
Okay.
I still love photography, right? And I think even in instances when I'm like, all right, I want to do some video work mixed in with this, I kind of reset and then approach it again from the videography aspect. So I tend to not blend the two, believe it or not. I know it might be kind of weird to kind of wrap your head around, but yeah, and I'm loving the challenges, the new things to learn and stuff around video. Stuff that I haven't even implemented yet, like say 3D modeling, video effects, things like that. Because it's again so much to learn around just one aspect. And it kind of can still play into photography as well, but I think video has a bigger need for a lot of those other things. Especially as you go more and more into the direction that one headed in, right?
Right.
But yeah, man, it's I think I love them both equally right now. I'm just more familiar with photography, right?
Yeah, I could say the same thing, because it's like, even though I started with video, like I guess I've grown more as a photographer than a videographer, because that was the demand at the time, and that's also what I like. But now that more people are liking video, and that's kind of what you have to do at this point to, I guess, survive, in my opinion, on social media. Like, you can still do your photography, but you still have to infuse some type of video, whether it's like just doing something on your phone, or if you want to take it to the next level and do something with your actual camera, you got to do it to stay relevant.
Absolutely. With reels and stuff now, right? It's necessary.
Yep. I don't mind the shift with video on social media, because it's like, you can still infuse your photos, like just put a picture in a reel, or put something of how you did the video, how you did the photo shoot, and do a behind the scenes of that, put your actual picture as the thumbnail. So it's like, you can still incorporate it that way.
Yeah. I think as with anything new, it can be kind of intimidating for a lot of people, right? Or you just don't want anything to do with it at all, right? Like I didn't get on this app for video. I just want my photos. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Just also be okay with what that might mean as far as how Instagram is going to prioritize or lower your priority, right? If you don't really utilize the tools they want you to.
Yeah. And like for your everyday creatives like us that, don't have 50,000 followers and stuff like that, those changes do affect us. But it's like when you have like people that are already having like a high influence and stuff like that, they don't really notice much of the change, in my opinion, because like you're still getting 1,000 likes on a picture. You're still getting 3,000 likes on a picture. But if you're still trying to build your business, or if you started building a business during this shift, then you're going to struggle. Or if you're just an old school photographer, it's like, yeah, I just got on here. And now you got to worry about doing video. Like you say, you either got to adapt or change your marketing and go another route other than Instagram. Right. I heard Twitter has been on the uprise for a lot of photographers. A lot of people have been shifting over there. Have you thought about going over to Twitter?
I still have a Twitter, but I don't know, man. It's hard for me I'm one of those people who it's hard for me to juggle multiple social medias, right? Like all my interaction is pretty much Instagram. If you see something on Facebook, it's because they have that little button where you can share it on Facebook, right?
And connect it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So automatic, like in that sense, yeah, I'm cool with it. But man, it's just hard for me to sit down and manage multiple apps. Like I have a Twitter account. Like, it's the funniest stuff I've ever seen. And I know you're less sensitive on Twitter versus
absolutely.
Versus Instagram, right? So, there are benefits there, but I don't know. I don't particularly like the way, I don't know, maybe I haven't tried posting stuff on there lately to really, really say if I like the way that it works for posting photos and content in general. So I'll probably check it out at some point, but I know I'm an either or type of person. So
yeah, well, I mean, you know what you can do? You can always just click that little button that says post to Twitter as well. So the not rare instances, but the time that you do post the actual reel or set of pictures on Instagram, it'll go straight to Twitter. And then you don't have to really worry about it. And that'll be a way to get you started. And if you start to see traction, you can always just post like your still images on Twitter and still post like the videos and behind the scenes stuff on Instagram. That's the way I've started. I haven't really noticed much of a difference on Twitter yet because I'm not on there that often. But I mean, that's just an option that I see.
Okay. Well, at least you got the content there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I guess that's a good option.
Yeah, my bad. Outside of like just social media and stuff, do you think that a photographer right now can only survive if they focus on doing both video and picture? Or do you think a photographer can survive as a photographer right now and a videographer can survive just as a videographer?
I think outside of social media, yes, they can still survive independently, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sure if you got a client who comes to you and is like, oh, you offer video as well? Like, yeah, I want to book that too, right? But I don't know how often I've had somebody, specifically be like, I need you to be able to do both photo and video, right? Or if I say I don't offer video for this, then they're like, okay, I can get somebody to do the video portion. I want you to the photo portion. So I think it'll always be able to be separated. Sure, you're going to have more potential for, income opportunities, XYZ, if you do offer both. And then same for a videographer, right? Like, especially like weddings, things like that. Often you probably want to have a dedicated video team and a dedicated, photography team, right? It's hard to kind of juggle between both for real.
That is a job that you are not going to be able to juggle. I can tell you that now.
Yeah. No. Or you go juggle, but like, listen, I'm gonna let you know now. Moments will be missed.
Something's gonna get missed, and you better hope it ain't the first kiss, the daddy-daughter dance, the cutting of the cake. If you miss any of those on either side, video or picture, you're done.
Yeah. They're like, what? This was all I wanted out of the whole day, and yada yada yada. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But because of that, it's really, I think, as long as whatever position you're in, kind of drawing those clear lines of communication and expectations, then you will still be okay doing what you do respectively, right?
Yeah.
But now the second you throw social media in the mix, you already know that's just a different nature in itself. So it can go one way or the other, need both, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. I think social media has like put like unrealistic expectations on every content creator. It's like you don't have to be both, but people think now because social media focuses on video and they may still want to be a photographer that they have to do both. But it's just like, I don't think the standard should always be that high, because just to say that you can still be a photographer like we were talking about earlier, but creating video on as a photographer on a video based platform, you could just be doing stuff of set your camera up on a tripod, cut out little clips. That's it. Or show like how you set up your rig. Like it doesn't have to be like a super intricate put together short film that you make into a reel. I mean, if you have interest in video, it shows, because then you're not just doing it on your phone, you're doing it on like your actual camera.
Right.
But I mean, it's just different levels. It's just different tiers of how you decide you want to do it as a creator, I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of us get caught up in the moment, like I want this to be perfect, and then you see all these other things that might be inspiring. You be like, damn, I want to do something like that, and then next thing you know, you got somebody like, well, I'm not going to put out anything, or I'm not going to try because I can't do it quite like that, and I don't like the way this look. You kind of get in your own way a lot of times with that. So, but like you said, it can be as simple as slapping the tripod up, right? BTS, all of that. You probably never see any of that from me because I'm probably the worst. Like I'll pack the camera on the tripod ready. Bro, if I get out the car and ready for the shoot, all I have is my camera to shoot.
Same.
I did not get the video camera, and it is still in the car just collecting dust.
Right.
It's just keep yourself, have to remind yourself sometimes. Or if you got somebody else that you can bring with you, that's your saving grace a lot of times too.
Yeah, but I always look at it like everything is content. Even if like you're not doing anything photography related, slap a subtitle up there and just talk about something photography related,
Yeah.
Or like you said, like just make it a habit of just always push and record, set it and forget it. And then you don't got to worry about it. Like we have these professional cameras and these gimbals and this gear, so might as well use it.
Might as well spend that money. Might as well make do what it's do. Yeah.
Yep. So like, do you have any projects that you're working on down there currently in Atlanta, like personal projects?
I haven't done a personal project in so long, man. So no, honestly, photo or video. Like I have things that I am working with other people and stuff like that. But they're I don't really count those as personal projects. Mm-hmm. I do have ideas that I do want to do. It's just never make the time to actually kind of put it together and really get it going in the right direction. Yeah. Man, I'm just chilling over here. The main job taking up most of my thinking time, right? So, I find myself in that rut sometimes when you like after work, like, man, I don't feel like doing nothing else. I can't think about nothing else, so on and so forth. So it's a hard cycle to break sometimes, but I got ideas, just not starting them yet.
Yeah, I get that. And it's like, I get being in a creative rut where it's like you don't have the motivation to create. But just for me, what usually helps is like I still try to shoot something or get out and do something. So it's like, even if I'm not fully motivated to do that, the motivation then comes later after I've already started putting things in motion, like getting projects out the way and actually going out and shooting something. And then sometimes stuff just comes out the blue and then I actually like it. And I consider that a personal project if I'm putting my ideas and thoughts into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I guess I do have a couple of shoots pending, right? That I've reached out to some models out here.
That counts.
It's just I guess that counts. So there's stuff in the works, and really, I got a lot of like video ideas that I'm trying to do soon too. So, because I want to explore a little bit more out of that. And where there's video, I will always take photos too. So look out for both. You'll see them all.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. So since you had said that you moved down to Atlanta to pursue film, Like, how's that been going for you lately? Like what opportunities have you seen down there that you didn't find up here?
So the community for, doing film work, in part, I don't think I've looked as hard as I probably could have in Virginia, right? But it's a lot easier to find people who, are writing their own scripts, directing their own content, shooting their own content, X, Y, Z. It's all around you and everywhere, right? There's so much filming going on. My girlfriend Dominique, she's an actor as well, right? So a lot of the people that she meets on set, same like-minded individuals, they writing their own stuff, directing stuff, they have their dreams that they're working towards. So it's just been easier to get more immersed in that scene here. Virginia is still a great place for film or video work. I want to say I always felt it's been more like from the commercial aspect. A lot of stuff is shot up there, but as far as like, movies, things like that, I think that scene is just a little bit more widespread down here. So, I've had the opportunity to work on a few short films or, even just helping out on other people shooting stuff, right? Because I don't always got to be the guy with the camera in hand, right? There's other roles. There's a lot of roles to putting the film together, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just been really cool to see the different aspects, different approaches, different directing styles, different cinematographer styles, all these different things that come together to make a final product and how that kind of flows together.
Okay. Just listening to you explain that, like a question did come to mind where it's like, I know you've moved down there. I've known two stylists that moved down there, some models and photographers as well. And a lot of people say, similar to what you're saying, it's like easier to get in down there in Atlanta. And it's not to say that it's like not going on up here, but I feel like the difference is in Virginia, a lot of people are either, I guess, closed off to what they're doing, or if bigger things are going on, it's like almost as if you have to already be in to get it. Like you said, commercials or hiring movie stuff or films or stuff like that, where it's harder for you as a freelance videographer or filmer or something like that to get into it because you're not already in that clique. You get what I'm saying? But but down there, it's like everybody's helping everybody type thing. So it's like they're similar, but they're different in how they operate.
I agree. So I guess it's not saddening, but like not too surprised that the feeling is still the same up there in Virginia with some of those aspects. Unfortunately, I think it is changing though. As more and more people network, new mentalities, things like that. From what I've seen down here, just on social media, right? I think the potential for that to change is a lot higher than what I remember for Virginia. As far as like that cliquey aspect. But yeah, and down here, don't get me wrong, it can be kind of cliquey too, but I think they're more willing to take a chance on somebody they don't know. I think that's also a big factor in it, right? Because you got this project, your baby, right? And like the thing about the clique, how everybody works in that clique, right? You know how they operate, you know what to expect from them. So it's like, damn, this new person here. But then it also takes that, that I guess a little bit of humility when you're dealing with somebody new, right? If they're not doing it the way you want it to, or, how do you have that conversation to reach a common ground, right? Stuff like that. But yeah,
that's true though. That's true though.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York, those places are known for that side of things. So it's like, people are more willing to take a chance because I think the mindset is just from the outside looking in, because I don't live down there, that you never know who could be the next big part to your team. So that seems to be, that could be the common mindset. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but that's what it seems like to me. In other places that aren't a prominent focus area in film or the creative space in general, where it's like, we have a lot of people that do it, but there are a lot of people that do it, but don't exceed to go to the next level to make something bigger than what they're doing in the space.
Right. Yeah. That probably is a big thought on it too. I would say because you do really never know, man. You don't know it. Is a combination. You don't know where somebody might wind up, or you don't know who they know, right?
That's
You don't know
true.
who you'll be put into contact just knowing somebody else, right? So, how your name is used in those rooms that you aren't in. That's kind of the big benefit to doing some of that. So yeah, I think I definitely agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's just me speculating because I'm not down there. But I know people in Atlanta. I know people in Los Angeles. I know people in New York. So it's like I know the areas that they're in. I always ask these same questions, like, like what's that environment like? What's the atmosphere like? What made you move from Virginia all the way across the country to LA to try to make it as a film director, actress, actor, hairstylist, whatever, dancer, whatever? And then it's like a lot of people always say like, oh, well, Virginia didn't do it for me. And I'm just like, well, I'm trying to figure out what they really mean by that. Yeah. And it's like their direct answer is different, but I feel like their intent is very similar. It's just like they want to be in that atmosphere where people are known to have made it. And a lot of people don't see Virginia as that on a holistic scale, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Like I said, even like I said earlier, right? Like a lot of stuff surprisingly is filmed in Virginia. Like, there's a lot of work done up there. It might not be casted out of there, right? And then you just might generally not know, but I always feel like it's commercial a lot of times. But there's a lot of movies and films that were shot in Virginia.
One of my favorite shows, Walking Dead, was shot right in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And I was mad because every time the episode was filmed there, I was like, I'm going to go. And I always miss it. Yeah. Every time.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, but I think a big influence for that as well, like LA, Atlanta, New York is, like I said, the casting location, right? So if it's that much easy, like if they, a lot of times, especially films, from what I've seen, witnessed myself, they're casted out of, Atlanta, right? But they might shoot in XYZ state, right? Unless you're doing extras, typically they're going to cast that locally because, they ain't going to fly out an extra for right. They just not. But I think that plays a huge part of it. Like, if really you can kind of, I think you can kind of gauge almost where extras are cast more so than anything else, right? Because that's where they doing most or the bulk of the filming for whatever project it is. So I think once you have, your cast members there, like, all right, a lot of stuff is done there. Now we got to have stylists. We got to have the hairstylists, wardrobe, all these different, crew. I mean, crew is always needed, right? Like the second anybody's there, you're going to have a crew, somebody, a grip director, all of them, they're going to be there because without them, without each other, it won't happen, right?
Right.
So I think that has a huge effect on, getting it done. Like I know I've seen some people do some film work in Virginia, but I don't know, other than music videos, I don't know many other people who have done like shows or, their own projects, things like that. Like I said, it could partially be in fault me not looking the same way that I did when I got here, because, perspective is different now versus then. But from what I remember, I'm pretty sure it just wasn't quite the same. Like you got people, there's always people that share your passion wherever you go, but I don't know, something about a community with that shared interest just makes it that much easier. People just draw to that.
And then what you had said, like people cast other places and then come to Virginia. And that just goes back to the point of when it comes to doing things on a higher level, like actual successful filming production companies that are doing things on a higher level. Not saying that if you're not bringing in millions of dollars or have like $1 million budget or a full crew, you're not successful. But that at that level, I feel like that's why people feel like they have to go to get to that level to be able to do it wherever. Because like if that was the case that you had to be in Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York to be successful, then every movie will be filmed in LA, Atlanta, in New York. But that's not the case. Like, you'll have a movie set. If the movie scene or script calls for it to be in Wisconsin, they're going to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we need to holistically get out of that mindset of like you have to be in a certain location to reach a certain level of success.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's just my thought on that.
It's okay to use it as a stepping stone, at most. But I don't put yourself in the box, right? Put yourself in the box like, oh, I won't make it if I'm not there, right? I won't do X, Y, Z if I'm not there. Because as soon as you start thinking that way, then you'll make it so one way or another, right?
Yeah. One thing I do say, like I actually mentioned you before on one of my podcasts, it's like it's not the moving that makes the person successful. It's the person that makes the person successful. I was actually, who was I interviewing? Akor. I was interviewing him and I was talking about you and we were talking about moving and stuff. And we were saying how like you already were a talented creator before you moved there. And you moved to have a better opportunity. There are people that start off or they're not putting in the effort that you put in, or a lot of other creators that we know, to better their craft and then go out there. Because if you're a crappy content creator and you move to Atlanta, no offense, you still gonna be a crappy content creator. Like I'm just saying, like I've seen people move and that did not make them any better. They didn't put forth any effort because they were the best in their pond, in their little group of people. And then they get to a bigger pond and then everybody's like, yeah, sorry, you can't really roll with us because you're not. I don't know.
Yeah. So we got standards that you just don't quite do. Yeah.
You can't sit with us. Sorry, you can't sit with us.
No, but for real though, that is a big thing. Like you said, you gotta, no matter where you are, you should always focus on your craft, right?
Exactly.
And if you think it's changing your location, it's suddenly going to make you the best photographer or video, whatever it is that you're doing, really, best that there is, then you're lying to yourself, right? If you go somewhere and do the same things you did from where you were before, you can be like, eventually it's going to feel the same.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, damn, I'm just not making it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, it's no hard feelings towards anybody, but you have to have that drive within yourself to go out and make it. Like, that's one thing that I see a lot, because people say, oh, well, I moved to Atlanta and like, it's not what I thought it was going to be and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, the groups are different. Like you said, the opportunities are different, like you were mentioning before, because there are more things that are more moving parts that are going on there. But if you have not improved, not just your skill, but your mindset, your goals, your ideas, your thought process, developed a plan on how to get there in your new location, then you're going to have the same results like you mentioned before. And then that even goes down to gear. Like, you can buy the hottest camera on the market. And if you don't know how to use the one you got now, that's the button I was looking for. I pushed the wrong button at first.
You did them crickets, like, what?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Man.
Yeah, man. Don't even get me started on the gear debate, man.
Hey,
the great gear debate.
That conversation can go on for hours, days, and months. And it's just like, some people take it a little too far, but some people get it. Some people don't. Like, people ask me all the time, what camera do you use? What lens do you use? And I'm like, well, I use Sony. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go out and get it. I'm like, okay, that's cool, Sony gang. I appreciate you. But like another perfect example, I was with Akor again. Him and Travis both shoot Canon, right? I picked up a Canon camera and then I posted on my story. I even told them, I said, hey, watch this. I said, I'm gonna post this on my story. I said, all right, y'all, I'm switching to Canon. I got the new R5, so this is my phone, my camera now. Not even 2 minutes after that, my phone blows up, notifications, messages. People are like, oh my gosh, you told me to get this. How dare you? You told me to get this camera. Like, are you okay? Why would you change? Like legit. Okay? Like legit. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly what happened.
Your sanity.
Yeah, like, because people were that like embedded in the fact that I shoot Sony, and like people that I told to shoot Sony, and it's never that deep to like, if you shoot something else, I'm not gonna not be your friend anymore, because like some of my closest photography friends shoot Canon. I don't care. They shoot Nikon. I'm like, I don't care. Am I gonna shoot it? Probably not. But that does not dictate your skill level as a photographer or videographer in that matter.
Right.
But
absolutely. It shouldn't. I feel like you. It's funny. Like I notice more and more I do video, and granted, the camera body does affect video a little bit differently than it does with photography. You know, a little bit. But that is a huge thing. Like, oh, what you record with? You already know the go-to, bro. You already know the go-to brand. Red. You already know. People want to hear you say, I'm shooting with red, whatever one, right? Me, I'm like, I like some others. I like Sony's cinema lineup, right? I'm getting more and more biased to Sony as I do more stuff with it. But like you said, man, I always say use whatever you have access to. Like I don't think you're trash if you don't shoot with Sony, right? Like, oh, this is trash. It's disrespectful that you're shooting with Nikon. I started with Nikon, right? It just happened to get stolen, so I got a Sony after that. Yeah, man, tragic.
Tragic. I mean, it's just like me. I've always shot with Sony. That's just what I started with, and it's like, okay, could I get my hands on? If I got my hands on a red Komodo Dragon, whatever they're called, a $40,000 camera, would I be excited? Yeah, I would, but that would actually make my workflow go back because I don't know how to use that camera. So like a Sony camera, if I were to get, the FX9 or something like that, I would probably understand that camera better because I understand the Sony system better. So it's just like, it's give and take, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if you like what you like, know how to use that equipment and get better at that. So it's just like at the end of the day, the war that we talk about with Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fuji, all that stuff, it should all be in good fun. Yeah, but some people take it a little too far, like way too far. I guarantee you, if I started this episode with like Canon is trash, never buy a Canon camera, this episode would get like a million downloads.
This man, you need to go ahead and do that clickbait.
Right. Canon's trash. Don't buy it.
Like, why I think Canon is trash?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. But it is what it is. It's all in good fun. You can tell the people that understand that and the people that don't.
It is what it is. You deal with it. And there ain't nothing that's never going to go away, right? Think about console fanboys, right? Xbox versus PlayStation. I mean, you got passion in these arguments, dog. Like passion that I never thought imaginable, right? But I think it's just human nature. Yeah, I never really understood, but
because I have all three, so
I'll clap back.
Yeah, I mean, I have all three. I have the PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. My Switch is in here in my office. My PlayStation and my Xbox are in there, so it just depends on what I want to play for today. Because I like Gears of War, but I also like God of War. So it's like I gotta be able to play it on both systems.
Yeah, this man here casually. Well, I got all of the above. Hey, I got everything you could want.
Hey, I'm just saying, like when you trapped in the house, it helped.
Gotta go get my training done for this motorcycle course, man.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah, trying to be biked up, man. So when I get a bike, y'all be on the lookout for them bike shoes.
Yeah, I was about to say you got it
all my life.
You gotta have your girl driving the bike. You gotta be on the back like this.
Yeah,
shoot
with the
yeah. That's how you gotta shoot.
About to risk it all.
Yeah, spray and shoot and hope you get the shot. But I'm gonna cut that part out. But anyways, moving on to the next topic. I'm glad we were able to talk about like all of that stuff earlier. But my last topic that I wanted to cover before I let you go. Do you think there is a line that models feel uncomfortable when it comes to being overly, as they call it, or some people say, sexualized in the creative space? Because it's like, I feel like that's all on interpretation, and both photographers make that situation more prevalent, and then some models overthink that situation where it's not always being overly sexualized, or they are projecting that situation and making it. So like, what are your thoughts about that with being sexualized in the modeling industry?
It is probably a multitude of things, right? Experience is probably number one, right? I think experience probably has the biggest effect on that, and probably outside of photography, right? Because you could be sexualized on the side of the street, right? Just because you're wearing something and somebody felt they wanted to say something about that, right? So you have these views on society and how they treat, women based on whatever factors they want to use as their excuse at the time, right? And then you that starts getting kind of put into photography, right? You got some photographers, as we always talk about, you always have the creepy photographers, right?
Right.
You know off bad, like, yeah, they here to take a picture of your ass. Like, it's probably low quality. The picture is really for them. Like, or they just want to be in a room with a pretty girl and, they barely dressed and, they get off to that. Right. But as far as like not everything has to be sexualized. Like you said, it's about the perception of it. Right. So you start kind of have like, all right, so we know the go-tos, like anything that's looking like a like Hugh Hefner type vibe, like this might be one of the bunny type of setup here, with those poses, things like that. You're going for selling sex. That's the purpose in it. So, at what point, like, do you feel like whatever pose? I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's hard for me. I don't know about you to say that every outfit, or if anything is like lingerie, like, does it have to be sexualized? I mean, it's lingerie. Like, the default thought is, sex. Right.
And but, I don't think that, sorry to cut you off, but I don't think that's a bad thing, bro. Cause it's like, some of these same people that say, oh, you're over sexualizing me for wanting to do this shoot, will turn right around and do a shoot just like that, if not worse. So it's just like, what's wrong with being sexy or feeling sexy? Some people see that as a sense of confidence. So as photographers, if we're providing that, I don't think being sexualized is the right word that they're trying to say. I feel like the right word might be like being taken advantage of, or, being, I don't know, creeped out or weirded out, but sexualized isn't necessarily the right word because you're using it in the wrong way. And I feel like it kind of, I'm just speaking off of generally, not anybody in particular. I had to put that out there because some people like to. Yeah. But it's just like, right. It's just like they try to project. So it's like you're projecting your insecurities, or unfortunately a situation that you've encountered that a photographer saying, oh, I like the way that this looks, or wow, you look great, or just as simple as giving an example of a concept. Oh, you're just going to try to sexualize me. That's a defensive mechanism.
Yeah. And at that point, it's like, in what way? I think the best we could do is try to, you can't convince somebody, right? I never try to convince somebody like, well, this, that, you need to just do it, this, that, whatever, right? But I think coming to a common ground of understanding, right? Like, so what do you mean by being sexualized, right? Like, once you clear that up, then you be like, okay, I see how you feel about that, what you thought my intent was, right? But let me actually explain what I think we can do with this project, because it's often, like I said, misused. Now, if you think you're going to be exploited with this,
I like that word. Better word. I like that word better. Exploited. I think people's go-to word is sexualized, but the word should be exploited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is that's undeniable, unarguable. You know what I mean? Exploit, like, we already know what type of time. And then at that point, you're being used in a sense, right? But yeah, I agree with you. Like, and there is nothing wrong with sex, right? Like, but back to that clear understanding of I think a more appropriate sense would be like, for me, when I think of somebody being sexualized with photo shoots, right? Just personal thought process on it. Let's say we do a regular fashion shoot in the studio, right? And then the photographer comes in like, while you're here, I think this would be some dope stuff for you to put on. They pull out some lingerie, all right? So now you done switched and gone completely, and they become, and this is back on the vibes that the professionals. And notice I haven't said, I don't know if there are women photographers who sexualize. I imagine there is,
bro.
Right?
There are.
I don't know.
There are.
Yeah,
I've heard stories of the women shooters too. Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine, right? But yeah, at that point, like this is kind of going left. We had an understanding, right? I think that understanding is the biggest key to it. Like you said, if you present a shoot to somebody and they say, "Oh, you're just doing this," and then next day you see them post something worse, it's like that they are or whoever is sexualizing themselves.
Mm.
Then it's like, okay, well, what I must have misunderstood what you even meant, right?
Right.
So yeah, I know it's a somewhat touchy subject for a lot of people, right?
It's touchy, but I
Lots of
wanted to talk about it because, like I
yeah,
told you, when I was making my tea prior to the episode, that idea came to mind. So I decided I wanted to. We're going to use the word that we just came up with today: exploit the topic
yeah,
in a
yeah,
sense that is
yeah,
non-offensive to anybody, but just a way to, I guess, open people's eyes, because some people say sexualized because somebody else says sexualized. Some people's
right,
interpretation of being sexualized is because somebody else heard a story about somebody else where it may not have been that
right,
way. But you mentioned a really good topic, a really good point of like communication. Like, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that?
yeah,
And sex, non-sex, fashion, implied, anything is all about interpretation and how you're presenting it. So like somebody could do a fashion shoot and they may not feel confident about that, and you might be, they in their eyes they might be exploited in that. Or
yeah,
somebody may do a lingerie shoot and feel empowered by that and not feel exploited by that. So it's just
right,
like you just have to tread lightly on that. And if you're a photographer that is going to tap into that area of anything like that, then you have to understand and know how to communicate that and be able to stand up for yourself as a photographer as well, and
yeah,
understand the model on their end on that side too.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Tragically.
But that's all I got on that, man. I know you gotta get up out of here, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time to chop it up with me on Shot and Chop. You know, I said I was going to do it, and this was definitely a good conversation that I feel like a lot of people needed to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to go up, and hopefully people understand, especially with the clickbait that we're going to say, Canon sucks, Sony is
Canon's
king.
trash. Sony is king.
But
Yeah,
no,
nah, man,
man.
I appreciate you having me on as well, man. I love what you're doing with the podcast, getting with other creatives, getting those perspectives. And like you said, actually bringing attention to a lot of these other ideas out there, because it's never a good thing to just go 100% with what you heard somebody else says, right? It's all you like always formulate your own opinion, right?
Right.
And do that with experience, personal experience and experience that others go through, so that you don't have to go through it yourself as well, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I try to do. I want to learn as much through everybody else, so I ain't got to deal with that.
Yep. I feel it. I feel
Yeah,
it.
and number one way to do it is talking, man. Exactly what you're doing. So yeah, kudos.
Appreciate it, bro. Last thing, where can people find you on social media, website, anything like that? Plug in your information, and then we'll put that in the show notes and call it a day.
All right. Y'all can find me on Instagram predominantly. My name is Sirflux on there. That is Sirfluxe. Same for Twitter. You can probably find me on Facebook with that too. That's my website as well. We use that same name for everything. So yeah, hit me up, reach out, question, shoot, all of that.
Appreciate it, bro. Simple, consistent marketing. I love it. But yeah, y'all, that is going to be the end of the episode for today. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
it's not even. I don't even think it tends to be that. I know black people we support our own, and number one thing you tend to hear is they don't is X Y Z other people don't know how to edit our skin, right? I can't tell you how many times I heard that. I don't know the truth in that. I'm not here to argue with that, but I think as your portfolio, grows toward that way, it becomes intimidating to people who might not look like them. So I had like some Asian women who were like, hey, I love your work, but I'm intimidated because I don't look like the women on your page. Right. So it's like, and that's why I'm expanding out. So I think that'll be a good combo whenever you do get that up on one of your interviews.
Yeah. I might actually have to make it like a round table type thing. So black, white. So it doesn't come off as offensive. But I mean, I don't want to step on any toes, but that is the issue. It's like it may not be intensive, but it's like, every white model that I've worked with there's always been some type of issue, or it just seems like the energy is off every single time. And it's like, even like talking to the white photographers, it's like, we don't connect the same way, you know? So it's like, it's always that same thing every single time, no matter who I meet, no matter where they're at. It always seems to be that same way. It's like, unless I knew you before, then it's usually not like that. But it's like meeting within the industry, it always seems to be that disconnect. And that's where I'm trying to have that conversation around that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing this round tape.
Some people might get offended, but whatever. That's my podcast. I do what I want.
It is.
Yeah. But
all right, man. I appreciate you having me.
No problem, bro.
I need to go ahead and get mentally prepared to be in the heat for 6 hours.
Yeah, just don't fall off. I don't do motorcycles. I like 4 wheels.
Yeah, man. It's fun though. It's fun though. I encourage you to go ahead and tap in.
Nah, I'm good. Every man in my family is falling off bike. I'm good. I'd rather stay on 4 wheels.
You said that stops with me.
It stops with me. But yeah, enjoy yourself, bro. I appreciate you, and I'll let you know when the episode's done and everything.
All right. Rest up, man.